And welcome to the Midday News on 3FM. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kesmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Opposition NDC petitions Parliament to investigate what it calls a defective voters register for this year's general election. Open you more. Also coming up, Assurance Committee of Parliament resumes a sitting after fire in the House halted its hearing on Tuesday. We'll take you to Parliament a day after sitting was called off due to the fire outbreak. Much later on the program, you may have come across the term next of kin in filling a document or two. This afternoon, we will explore its implications for you. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, the opposition National Democratic Congress has petitioned the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, to launch investigations into what the party calls a defective voters register for this year's general election. The NDC says that without a forensic audit or parliamentary probe, the current register is unfit for purpose. In a Facebook post, the Director of Elections, Dr. Edward Omane-Boamah, also warned that the NDC may hit the streets if nothing happens. Wisdom Safo is with our research desk. He joins us live in studio. Wisdom, what did the NDC identify as faults in this current register?
Okay, so Beatrice, as we all know, the voters exhibition exercise ended on Tuesday, 27th of August. So just a few hours ago, Dr. Omane-Boamah posted on his Facebook page to raise these concerns on the exhibition. So one, he alleges that the voters register has been deliberately tampered with and that the names of the registered voters are missing from the register, some of them. And also some qualified voters are incorrectly placed on exception or multiple lists. And some disqualified individuals due to multiple registration remain on the register. Also, some voters have been transferred without their knowledge and old transfers are still listed. And also, some police station assignment for voters are incorrect. And some proxy voting applications were processed without proper biometric checks. So on missing BVDs as well, Dr. Omane-Boamah is asking the EC to resolve all the issues that's pertaining the missing BVDs. You remember just recently someone was arrested for the possession of a BVD which is supposed to be for the EC.
Indeed.
And also on the late submission of register, Dr. Omane-Boamah raised concerns that the Electoral Commission did not provide them with timely access to the full voter register before the exhibition exercise. So according to him, this delay has hindered his ability or the NDC ability to effectively compare the register with previous data and assess its accuracy. So Dr. Omane-Boamah is demanding or is petitioning Parliament of Ghana to investigate this issue thoroughly. So according to him, he's threatening that if Parliament does not take action, he wants that the NDC, supported by international community, will pressure the Electoral Commission to allow some forensic audit on the voter register and its processes at large.
Thank you very much, Wisdom Safo, for bringing us details of that petition from the NDC to Parliament. We're joined by Dr. Samuel Afriyie. He's a political analyst. Good afternoon to you, Doc. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good afternoon, my dear. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking, Doc. We've been back and forth with this NDC allegation and counter-allegation, but really what role can Parliament play in addressing these concerns by the NDC, and how effective, really, you think parliamentary probe could be at this time?
Thank you, and good afternoon to your cherished listeners as well. Looking at the petition and Dr. Boama urging Parliament and other stakeholders to look at it, is the right direction, because when you identify that maybe you want it to be corrected or you want it to be solved, you tend to seek people or relevant institutions to come in. But I don't know whether these issues that the NDC is claiming that the register is defective, they have drawn the attention of EC. That's the first thing that we need to identify. If they have drawn the attention of the EC and we're not able to give the right solutions or right explanation for these issues, then I think Parliament or any other institution that have the relevant experience or skills to audit the defective allegations against the voters register.
So it was just yesterday. It was just yesterday the NDC sent an emergency or sent a letter to the EC asking for an emergency meeting. And when we spoke to one of the executives of the party, the information we had was that the letter had been sent, but the EC had not responded yet. And then next day we wake up and the Director of Elections is petitioning Parliament, specifically the Speaker, to probe this.
Yes, and even if they have petitioned the EC, I think that is yesterday, and now asking Parliament, I think they should be fair to the EC in this direction, where they will give them some time to respond to some of these allegations. Because if you give somebody information or some kind of feedback of what you did the register, and the next day you go to Parliament, I don't think they'll be fair to the institution. So I think they should give the EC some time, and based on how they will give the explanation and reaction, maybe it can also be a basis for you to even push it further to other institutions to come in.
The NDC is warning that it could hit the street if nothing is done about this. What do you foresee as the consequences of this very impending action?
Oh, I think, when issues are not unresolved, that is where you end up to. And I think that at the end of the day, that these things could be cleared. Sometimes these actions sound like of a threat, but I believe in an engagement. I believe in a system where institutions that matters most will come in. I don't think that it will end up to that. I don't think the NDC will even wish to do that, because issues need to be resolved, and they have to be resolved, and relevant authorities need to come in for them to get the clearer picture for all of us to get on board.
Finally, from me, how do you expect the Electoral Commission to assure political parties that indeed we're going into this year's general election with reliable voters register?
Well, I think the key issue is transparency. Transparency and engagement. That is where it will make things clearer. If things or issues that comes in, engage the people, explain to them, let things be clear. And I think that all of us want free and fair elections, and also want a transparent system. And that is what I think the EC should try to let all the parties involved to be aware of it.
Wind it here. Thank you very much, Dr. Samuel Afriyie. He's a political analyst. We say a bit longer on politics, and a former Minister of Sports, Youth and Sport, Elvis Afiyankra, has mounted a spirited defense of the National Democratic Congress's flag bearer, John Mahama. Speaking on 3FM's Sunrise, Mr. Afiyankra mentioned that a future NDC government will uphold corruption and ensure accountability.
Gone out of the woods with the corruption zibes of calling the president the mother support of corruption. So if you do a comparative analysis, between a student who had a B minus, which is like a second class lower, and one who had F, how do you say the F student compare himself to the B minus student and say that, I should be allowed to come and run a country? No, I shall protect the public purse. All Africa Games, has your public purse been protected? All the numerous scandals, uncountable, and every day they are coming, has your public purse been protected? I'm too old to steal your money. I already have my own. Really? Yet it's so and so come there. Now, a common near you, try me and see. We have tried you and we have seen. I am not corrupt and I'll never be corrupt, really. He appointed Martin Amidu as his key advocate, the one who was to champion the fight against corruption. That's not me saying it though. Martin Amidu having worked with him for 3 years, from all that he saw and the PDS and all that, Martin Amidu came out and said what? That Nanado and his MPP, Nanado is the mother serpent of corruption. What else do Ghanaians want to hear?
Mr. Fiyankra also called for an independent inquiry into the allegations of misappropriation of funds during the 2024 All-African Games held in Ghana.
So the best way, if even for those people involved, it would be in their interests for us to have a public inquiry so that everything will be clear, because some of the figures we are hearing, it just doesn't add up. For example, you hear about renovation, you know, and you're talking about what, is it 14 or 16 million dollars. Meanwhile, UPSA is building twin towers, 10-story double twin towers for virtually the same amount with all kinds of facilities. So something doesn't add up. Feeding of what, $15 million for 14 days? What were they eating? Were they eating ostrich or buffalo meat? You know, something doesn't add up. So there has to be an inquiry. Look at the mess, the embarrassment between the GBC and the minister. There has to be a truth somewhere. Now, if you leave it to the two entities, this one will say this, this one will say that. So there has to be an independent inquiry so that we can get to the bottom of it.
And you heard the former sports minister Elvis Fiyankra. You're still here on the Midday News on 3FM. It's some 11 minutes past the hour of 12. And you're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Now, there has been varied reactions to the decision by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to place a ban on export of grains. You'll recall that on Monday, the ministry announced measures to deal with the food crisis which has been brought about by dry spells in 8 regions across Ghana. The measures include a ban on the export of grains, making cash and input distribution to affected farmers. Government has decided to source some $500 million from the contingency fund, the World Bank and other donor partners to cushion the affected farmers. Here's the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Brian Champon, announcing the ban earlier.
The following measures have been approved by government for implementation by the ministry to avert a food security crisis. With immediate effect, government is placing a ban on the export of grains, including maize, rice, soya bean, until the situation normalizes. This measure is essential to ensure the availability of these critical crops on the domestic market. Any farmer with stock and interested in selling should contact our district directorates across the country, our district aggregators, or the Directorate of Crops, Ministry of Agriculture. This is to ensure that farmers do not suffer adversely from this ban. As earlier mentioned, the affected regions contribute over 62% of our grain supply. With the projected shortfall in grain supply, government will tap into the ECOWAS grain reserve and partner with the private sector to bridge the gap.
And you heard that the Minister for Food and Agriculture, we're joined on the line now by Gordon Nikwe. He is the Senior Business Advisor for Isoko. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon.
The measures announced by the Ministry of Agriculture, let me first get your view on what you make of it.
I would say they are great. They will help sustain our industry.
They will help sustain our industry. But let me find out from you, Isoko, what information have you picked on already the effect of this dry spell, in 8 regions across the country, the effects we are experiencing so far?
Thank you very much. So far, prices have escalated in most of our staples. Rice price has gone up, maize price has gone up, yam has gone up. Yam has went as high as 3,000 cities for 100 tubers, average tubers. This has affected us because the rains are not coming, so they can't harvest the yam. They can't grow maize. We are expecting that based on the situation, prices will go up, and that is expected. But we are expecting this to happen the first quarter of next year. For now, we have some stock of commodities in the system, so we are not expecting much increase. What we have will be stable. There will be a slight reduction of the commodity prices on the markets from hopefully next month. But from December, when we have exhausted the little that we have, and if the rainfall don't improve, we will expect higher prices on the market.
But you're already saying that prices have already started going up. Is it indicative that people are hoarding because they think that soon there will be shortage and, they can get a bit more than their usual prices?
No, people are not hoarding. It's just that we are consuming what we planted last year. And for now, when we started the production, we sold most of them out. What is happening is that the bottom half or the middle belt had a little stable rainfall. So they produce some maize which is coming out onto the market. That fresh maize will at least bring down the prices of maize on the market. In fact, if we look at the current prices, the old maize is going for around 1,000 to 1,100 for 130 kilogram. And the new maize is going for 900 for the same 130 kilograms. So you can see the price difference. This is going to stabilize or bring down the price a little bit. As we harvest more maize, the price will come down. We are expecting that more maize we harvested this week, next week. By the end of next 2 weeks, we should finish harvesting. We should finish bringing those maize onto the market. And then we plant the minor season. If we plant the minor season, by the time we finish planting the minor season and then going to harvesting, if the rainfall pattern don't help us, then at that time, we've already finished consuming what we planted in the middle season. So we have the crisis coming in. And I'm happy the ministry has seen it and they've come out and look at how they can help resolve it. Other than that, if we don't take care, by March next year, prices will escalate too much.
Beyond the measures of the ministry, which you agree with, what else do you think could be done to mitigate the effect of this crisis?
For now, our urge the farmers and then the ministry to intensify education how to use the early maturing varieties. We need to use crops that will last for about 3 months, 90 days to meet the demand, get some yields onto the system. That's the first thing. The second thing too is that we should look at mobilizing the excess maize we are having right now. The ministry or the government should try and use the buffer stock to buy the excess maize on the market, buy the excess rice on the market, and fill the warehouses. You see, we've run a planting for food and job, but we are not being able to buy the excess and then keep them in the warehouses for emergencies. So this is a time that the money should be channeled to especially the rice. Now we have a lot of rice in the local hands, in the farmers on the villages. So we need to buy them, keep them in the warehouses so that we release them during the need for this.
Thank you very much. And that was Gordon Nikwe, as he is a senior business advisor at Isoko. Now, the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, has allayed fears of contributors over ILO's latest report that reserves of the trust will deplete in the next 12 years. Now, the Director General, Kofi Bosompim Osafo-Mafo, says that reports like this provides the trust with guidance and what the issues are stressing that this should not be a cause for alarm. And George Quaining is there. He joins us live on the line. George, what more can you tell us? We seem to have lost George Quaining on the line there. You're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. You're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Thank you for staying. Now, the Assurances Committee of Parliament has resumed sitting after it discontinued its public hearing yesterday after a fire outbreak yesterday, Tuesday, August 27, and we'll bring you more in our subsequent bulletins as and when we have information on what's happening in Parliament. And to the Ashanti region now, where the implementation of the free dialysis session for a category of renal patients has led to over 300% increment monthly sessions at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital. This, according to management, means that the hospital will need more than 20 additional dialysis machines to meet the growing demand and prevent instances of declining patients from being attended to. And that's it for the news here on 3FM. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7
Africa, are you ready? The countdown to the most explosive Afro experience of the year has begun. It's the 3FM Afro Connect 2024, happening live on Saturday, 21st September at the monumental Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. It promises to be a day filled with a display of Africa's dynamic cultures, pulsating beats, electrifying performances, and pure Afro vibes. Come and experience the infectious energy of Africa's great people in the most iconic food battle of the continent, the Jollof Wars. Which African country takes home the crown for the best jollof? You don't want to miss this epic celebration of Africa. The 3FM Afro Connect, 21st September at the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, Accra. Feel the pulse. Feel the vibe of Africa. Are you a vendor or international exhibitor? This is your moment. Come and showcase your unique products to thousands of culture lovers from around the world. Call 0532 200 927 or 0531 100 927 right now. 3FM Afro Connect 2024, where Africa meets the rest of the world. Powered by 3FM, the Media General Group. Follow us at 3FM 927 for more. 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio.
Hello, good afternoon. It's time now for Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, Finance Ministry justifies development of rating system for non-bank financial institutions to make their clients more creditworthy and financially robust. We'll hear from Director of Financial Sector Division, Samson Akligo.
We have worked also under the same financial inclusion and development strategy to promote a rating system.
Also, Bank of Ghana charges fintech players to continue innovating to sustain sector's gains. We'll hear from a director, Kwame Opon. Plus, Traders Advocacy Group Ghana expresses disappointment with government's handling of cedi's rapid depreciation as it urges swift action. My name is Minu Aful. We have details of these stories and more lined up for you. Stay with me. Thanks so much. Let's go straight to our first story. And the Director of Financial Sector at the Ministry of Finance is emphasizing the development of a rating system under Ghana's financial inclusion strategy. This system, spearheaded by the Ghana Stock Exchange and regulators, aims to evaluate and strengthen SMEs by providing them with better access to finance. The goal is to help non-bank financial institutions like savings and loans companies and microfinance institutions by making their clients, SMEs, more creditworthy and financially robust. Samson Akligo is Director of Financial Sector Division at the Ministry of Finance.
One of the challenges you face, and which is very clear, is the NPLs. The truth is that when disciplined capital is lacking in a lot of the SMEs, you supporting short-term financing, which is a core, becomes very difficult one. So we need a partnership that makes sure that the arms of providing disciplined capital is enhanced. We have worked also under the same financial inclusion and development strategy to promote a rating system where about the stock exchange working together with two regulators are really the champion anchors for it. This rating agency will have a very strong SME rating focus, and I think that is going to help you significantly when this come into force. And I think that we should not wait for this to be completed before we come in. The association have to engage the key people working on this. I think you can contact the Minister of Finance, Andrew, who is your key champion, so that he introduce you to it. And we start conversations on how we can make the people that you give credit to stronger.
That was Director of Financial Sector Division at the Ministry of Finance, Samson Akligo. There, in more stories, Director of Fintech and Innovation at the Bank of Ghana, Kwame Opon, has charged players within the fintech ecosystem to continue innovating to build trust to sustain the sector's gains. He noted that mobile money has mobilized some 22.2 billion cedis, which would have otherwise been kept under pillows and mattresses from 24.4 million active mobile money users. He made these remarks at the MTN Momo at 15 FinTech Stakeholder Forum in Accra, emphasizing the need for sustained innovation to further grow the sector.
However, it's also important that we're not complacent with our progress so far, and that we look, particularly from a mobile money limited standpoint, at some of the things that we need to consider, at least from a regulatory standpoint, as we go forward. First of all, is to protect consumers, to ensure that we invest in educating consumers, empowering consumers with the necessary tools, and supporting them so that that trust and confidence they have in digital financial services, particularly in mobile money, will not wane, but will instead grow. That we can help them protect themselves from the scourge of activities such as fraud. Secondly, is customer support. Study after study, perhaps on your side you have noticed this, but so is the case on our side. That as we engage consumers across the length and breadth of this country to understand what their pain points are, what their expectations are.
Director of Fintech and Innovation at the Bank of Ghana, Kwame Opong Day. In more stories, Chief Executive of Magdan Shipping, Daniel Macaulay, has emphasized the importance of Africans taking a leading role in the continent's transport industry to bolster trade within the region. Despite the African Continental Free Trade Area being the world's largest free trade area and the 8th largest economic bloc with a combined GDP of $3 trillion, much of the goods transport sector in the region remains foreign-owned. Daniel Macaulay, who was recently named Aviacargo Personality of the Year, stressed that this narrative must change to ensure substantial growth in African economies.
If you don't own the air, you don't own the sea, you don't have a business. Forget it. It will take you forever. So it's about time we start taking our own destiny in our hands. It's about time we have to start thinking global and act local. How do we think global and act local? We have to act local because we can mobilize our own resources. It's also about time the big boys, those of us who call ourselves big boys in Africa, begin to own our own assets.
CEO of Magdan Shipping, Daniel Macaulay, there. Now let's shift your attention to the Traders Advocacy Group Ghana, as it has voiced its disappointments with the government's handling of the city's rapid depreciation, urging immediate action to stabilize the currency. The city has fallen by more than 24% against the dollar, raising concerns about its impacts on Ghana's import-dependent economy. Speaking to 3 Business, the group's president, David Amoating, said that depreciation has unsettled the trading community and called for swift measures to address the issue.
We never envisaged that August 2024 cedi to dollar will be 16. Never ever. Because when the cedi even started playing at Palogo with the dollar, we even pegged it that by the time Nana Akufo-Addo exit, it will be 10. Worst case 10. 16, no businessman saw it coming. And it's something that is impeding on our progress. It's very, 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 it's hurting. And every businessman will not miss West. If you come to our businesses, you come to Mokola, go to KJTR, go to Kantamanto, it's something that people are talking about it. And it's about time the government take a second look at it, especially the finance minister. You have to sit down, meet the stakeholders, sit down with them, and let's take concrete solutions, because a lot of businesses are collapsing. It's something that this government has failed, and I think they can even redeem their image if they wish to do so.
And that over there was President of Traders Advocacy Group Ghana, David Amoating. Before we go, let's take a look at our top story for today. Finance Ministry justifies development of rating system for non-bank financial institutions to make their clients more creditworthy and financially robust. Bank of Ghana charges fintech players to continue innovating to sustain sector's gains. Traders Advocacy Group Ghana expresses disappointment with government's handling of cedi's rapid depreciation as it urges swift action. My name is Minu Afo. That will be all for Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more stories, kindly log on to our website on www.3news.com. Have a good afternoon. Urban Blend is up next. Do stay tuned.